live in a society that tells us how we should look, what we should eat, how we should exercise, what size we should be, how our bodies should look. And I think that that is one of the biggest struggles that we face as a society. The only person you should compare yourself to is you yesterday. Like, that's the only one that you need to be worried about.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode on Your Health is Your Greatest Wealth. I have the pleasure of introducing Jaime Duggan, who is a holistic coach, and she also recently just released a book entitled Drama-Free Health. And with that, Jaime, take it away. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, Blanca, for having me. And Drama-Free Health, the thinking behind the title is really how we overcome health and wellness. We get so caught up in the nuances of what exercise should I do? And oh my gosh, I have to exercise for a certain amount of time, or what diet should I follow? And I didn't follow my macros perfectly. And we just overcomplicate health and wellness. And so Drama-Free Health was really born out of really taking the drama, taking the nuances out of health and wellness, as backwards as that may sound, but to really simplify healthy living.
You know, I love that. And I'm so glad that you wrote this book. You and I had a really interesting conversation the other day talking about the book and why you wrote it. And I completely agree. I think there is so much out there in the health and wellness space. And just to bring it down to simple terms, it's how can you be healthier without making it so complicated? I mean, isn't that really what we all want to know?
Yes.
Yeah. So
that is exactly.
So can you share a couple of nuggets from your book? How can we be less drama and more free?
Yes. So one of my favorite concepts that I teach in Drama-Free Health is the concept of creating and setting authentic health and wellness goals. We live in a society that tells us how we should look, what we should eat, how we should exercise, what size we should be, how our bodies should look. And I think that that is one of the biggest struggles that we face as a society, is that we set these goals based on what they're telling us we should do. And instead, if we flipped it and started to set authentic health and wellness goals to ourselves, am I okay, having a couple extra pounds, but enjoying that meal? Am I, okay not being as toned and fit as the supermodel that is probably airbrushed, most likely, right? And instead enjoy my movement. What is important to me for health and wellness are to be energized, to be focused, to be present, to feel really good in my body, and to optimize my longevity. So that's one of my favorite things. And one of the things that I think really sets this concept apart is just the being authentic to you, really being okay with goals that are based on you, and stop comparing yourself to others. Like they always say, the only person you should compare yourself to is you yesterday. Like, that's the only one that you need to be worried about. Because we all have different body types. We all have different needs. We all have different abilities. Everything is unique. And so why shouldn't your health goals also be unique to you? So that's one of my first and most favorite concepts that I teach in Drama-Free Health. And then another one that I love is the concept of starting really, really small, because the fastest way to fail is to overcommit, overcomplicate, take, way too much, way more than you can handle right now, and dive head first with good intention. But our brains don't work that way, and we're going to get overwhelmed. So instead, if we took it and we started really, really small, really simple, 5 minutes a day of walking, eating a couple vegetables every single day, adding 10 minutes of, sleep opportunity to our nighttime routine. Really small actions that we can repeat consistently, that will then become habits that then we can refine, then we can add on to the time, then we can get more specific. So instead of worrying about the specifics, just take the really simple action. And when you think you have a simple action, she said, gosh, my friend said that I should just start doing 10 minutes of weight training daily, because that's where my resistance is. I have a really hard time being consistent weight training, and I just should take 10 minutes a day. And I said, why not just do 5? And she was like, I never thought about that. She texted me the last 2 mornings and she's like, I did 10 minutes of weight training because you gave me permission to do 5. And so that concept of starting small is just so powerful and so overlooked. We think that small, it doesn't count, but that's what counts the most because that's what compounds.
You know, you said exactly what I was going to say, and I love that you phrased it the way you did. We discount the small because we think the small doesn't count. And I am a proponent as well of the compound effect. I think it's the little things that you do that add up. It's also the little things that you don't do because they improve your health. Those don't do's also add up. So it's always the little things, because those are the habit creators and those are the habit things. The things you don't do that help you, and the things you don't do that if you did do them could actually harm you.
Yes, it's so true. It's so, we always think the positives compound, but also the negatives compound.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important.
Jaime, I also wanted to ask you something else that I know when you and I were talking came up several times, and it was the whole concept of balance with working out, with health. And what I'm seeing right now is there seems to be 2 extremes, and maybe not so much in the middle. It's lots of people that don't exercise at all, and people that exercise to the extreme, the super buff people, the uber athletes that maybe are not actually in professional sports, but if you saw them, you would think they do because their life revolves around working out and being at the gym. And maybe in some cases, some of those individuals also have body dysmorphia, which I also don't think is healthy.
Yeah.
So how do we bring it in to just be healthy and do it in a way that we're not completely neglecting our health, but also in a way that we're not neglecting everything else in our life for achieving that goal of optimum health?
My thought on that is always like the best exercise, because what is the best exercise I should do, right? And I always say the one that you're going to do. Like, if you're not active, pick something that you enjoy enough to follow through with consistently. Like, and once you start to have that habit really established, then you can add on to it. Then you can get, because certain activities, exercises, they all have different benefits, right? Like weight training, resistance training has a undisputable benefit and value, longevity, and to, bone health and muscle strength and all of those things. And cardio activity also has really finding the thing that you enjoy that you're going to stick with. And then also when it comes to like having that balance, really knowing why you're doing it is really, really important, because a lot of the times we think I need to either exercise for the aesthetics, right? Or, I don't know about you, but I used to exercise for the aesthetics. Like I went to the gym because I wanted to look good. Like I wanted to, fit into that whatever. But now it's more maintaining my health for the long term. So finding that balance really, I think, is knowing why it's so important, why it's invaluable to you, and why there's nothing that can replace it. But then also finding what you enjoy that you're actually going to do, and not getting so overwhelmed with what other people think or tell you should do. If your friend is loving to cycle, but you hate cycling, like it's okay. Don't cycle.
To your point, I actually got into health and fitness many moons ago. And I did it through running because I liked how it made me feel. The way I looked was secondary. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a female. And most of us females do want to look good. So there is an aesthetics component to it. And that's why I think I stuck with it, because I saw results. But for me, it was also what I was getting mentally. The endorphins were kicking in. And I loved the way it made me feel when I ran. I didn't like the way I felt when I went through periods of not exercising. I noticed a difference. And now that I have, many years of running under my belt, for me, it's a must. I know I'm a little grouchy when I miss workouts. and I liken it to, I always hear people talking about being hangry when they don't eat. I get hangry when I don't exercise. And I think for me, I just need those endorphins to kick in. And it does help with my enjoyment, my happiness. And so that's why I do it. And I think the why people have is definitely important for the reason, like you mentioned, I have noticed that many, and I guess I'll focus on women with this topic, many women that start exercising or go on diets to look good in that dress or for that occasion, that event, once that event has occurred or once they already wore the dress, is where I see then they slip back into their old habits because to me it was not a long-term goal. Looking good in a dress is not a long-term goal. It's fleeting. And so I think that the why
Yes.
has to be stronger. I want a healthier lifestyle. I want to look good all the time, not just in that dress. And I want to feel good. So that's been my
Yes.
experience.
I I actually wrote about that exact thing in Drama Free Health, where I said, it is about losing weight for the occasion. This is about being healthy for life. Like, because that is, I feel, one of the most significant struggles or causes of yo-yo weight loss and exercise is because you're just looking to fit into that dress. Oh, I'm just going to get it summer. Or I just, I have my high school reunion coming up or my college reunion. I want to look good for, that. But those reasons are, as soon as that event happens, then what?
Yeah.
But if you know why, like, yeah, the endorphins feel so good to exercise. I love feeling strong. Like, I personally love feeling strong. And I also love the example because, one of the beautiful things that COVID did was it brought everybody home. And truly, COVID was the catalyst for my stepping out on my own and doing coaching. And really, I had wanted to do it prior to this, but, that really forced me into it. But the other awesome thing was that now I exercise at home. And instead of taking my kids to the gym and dropping them off at the childcare, they then were watching me exercise, watching me work on my fitness, watching me struggle through the challenges. And they now know I'm setting the example of what it looks like. I don't exercise to be skinny or to fit into a dress. That happens because it's a byproduct. But I'm showing them that this is the lifestyle of the person. So, that for me is another really big why. Like, I want my kids to know that this is the ultimate form of self-love, is to take care of yourself.
Another interesting topic, just the whole concept of self-love and self-care that I think is coming more to the forefront now. And to your point, I think COVID really brought that out as well when everyone was shut down and so many people's health did dwindle. I think one of the positive things to come out of it is that people just started taking more awareness and not feeling so stigmatized about taking care of mental health, really embracing the concept of taking time for oneself to improve oneself so that you have more to give others. And you really can't do that if you're not taking care of yourself. Jaime, I had a question to ask you, and you may have answered it. So I know your background was as a personal trainer. What made you shift to being a holistic coach? And for our audience that has never heard the term holistic, can you define what that means?
Yeah. So I was training clients and I had always been into health to some extent, not as deeply passionate and like immersed in it as I am now. But I remember I was training clients and I was seeing them, twice a week or a week, or whatever their cadence was at the gym. And we would talk because it's like, I'm not losing the weight. And, I'm just having these other struggles. And I had this feeling, this like knowing that I was almost doing a disservice for my clients as they paid to come work out once a week. And in their mind, that was doing them good. It was improving their health. And yes, exercise is improving their health, but that was a small component of the big picture. And so I wanted a way to really bring the whole picture which brings me into what a holistic coach is, or a holistic wellness coach, is that I wanted to give them the tools to improve their nutrition, to improve their mindset around health and wellness, to improve their sleep, their whole lifestyle. So holistic wellness coach, I really address the mind, body, and spirit because they are all connected. And even just in the body, we have nutrition, we have sleep, we have hydration, we have our stress management, right? We have all these areas. And what has been ignored so much is that, well, we think that to be healthy, you need two things. You need to, eat, be on a diet, basically, and exercise. Like, those are what we've been told is what healthy is. And in fact, your sleep is as important, if not more important, than your exercise. Your body, 75% of Americans are dehydrated. 75%. I thought that number was shocking. And, that shows up in headaches and mental fatigue and lack of, focus and mood swings and digestive issues and all these things. And all of these areas affect our health, but yet we were only focusing on two things. So I like to bring it all together because to truly be healthy, you have to have them all. And it doesn't mean that they're all going to be perfect, but you have to be there at least and working on them in some form to truly be, balanced and whole.
And I think that's such a great approach because it makes it so much more sustainable. I think anything you do for any period of time, again, back to the conversation, whether it's looking good for dress, or even I'll take my example of, when I was training for a marathon, to me, the level of running I was doing is not sustainable on a daily basis. Right now that I'm not training for a marathon right now, I'm still running. I, however, don't feel that I need to go out and run 19 miles. So for me, the concept of what people do to just maintain a baseline is what we're talking about here. Have a healthy baseline. Eat healthy, exercise healthy. Nothing has to be an extreme. You don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to run 19 miles on the daily. It's the little things you do, the movement that, like you mentioned with your client, do foot weights 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but do it, build up that consistency, build up that habit, and have joy while you're doing it.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you about another topic. So I know when I was growing up, getting into health and fitness and the gym, the whole concept of no pain, no gain was always reinforced. I think that has completely gone out the window. Like you said, you have to enjoy what you do. There are so many sports out there, so many activities. If you don't like one, try something else. And I think that variety is the spice of life. There is always something for everyone. There's such a big menu out there. Pick something on the menu that you like.
Yes, I love that. And you know what, Blanca, I am not a runner. For years, I tried to tell myself that I should be a runner. And for many reasons, I decided, I don't like to use the word. I tried to convince myself that I was a runner. And a few years ago, probably, I don't know, it's been a while, but I was like, you know what, running is not your sport. Don't worry about it. Just leave it. And I like cycling. So I ride, I've got, a spin bike and I ride it. And that's my form of cardio. That's my preferred form. But at the end of last year, thinking for this year, I thought I want to run a half marathon because I want to challenge myself. And I've told myself that I don't like running, but I want to see, like, I'm in good shape. I'm physically fit. Like, I want to see what it's like. And I will tell you that I trained for a half marathon and I ran it, but not my spice. I can so confidently say, like, I did it. I tried it. I gave it a solid effort, and it's like, that is not my jam. I tried it and it's okay. I let go of that guilt. And I think so many people hold on to the shoulds. I should runner. I should be a cycler. I should enjoy this. If you don't enjoy it, do something else. Because if you don't enjoy it, like, first of all, you're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Which then you're in another issue. But also, like, put yourself through torture if you don't enjoy it. There's so many different types of exercise that you can do that have similar benefits, right?
So good. And I was aware that you did a half marathon. I was not aware that you did not enjoy the experience, but yeah, it's great that you tried it.
I enjoyed the actual run, with my sister, but it was a trail run, which was a lot better. My hips don't like running, but it was raining. It was cold. We had all the reasons to be like, nope, and we did it and we had fun. Because
to your point that you put the training in, you did the work, you did the consistency, and you actually ran the event. I think the overall theme is, you know what, pick something, and it's not necessarily going to be an easy road when someone first starts on a wellness journey. You know, you're gonna get lots of discouragement. You might want to stop because, oh my gosh, it's so hard. And that is the value I see in having people like a peer group, like a running buddy or a gym buddy or a coach that just is there to cheer you on, because sometimes it does feel like you are all alone and it's lonely, and you need that constant support and cheerleading. So I love coaches. I love all types of coaches. And I'm glad that you do that for people and help them believe in taking their health and their wellness into their own hands and do it in a way that's enjoyable. Yeah.
Oh, and like you said, it's not always going to be natural, right? Like some days I work out and I'm just like, I do not want to do this, but I do it. And I'm always glad that I did it.
Mhm.
That's something, the no pain, no gain is definitely gone out the window, but sometimes there is going to be resistance, and it's okay, because trees only grow with resistance. We only move with resistance, right? So sometimes you have to lean into that a little bit.
So Jaime, what is one last thought you would like to leave our viewers with?
I always love this question and I always struggle with it. The one piece of advice, it's it would be different for everybody depending on where they are. But my one piece of advice would be really to into who you want to become, because, whether you're compounding to the positive or compounding to the negative, you're compounding. So really know who you want to be, what that ideal future self is, and lean into that. Make the decisions that are you towards reaching that goal.
And one more time, will you show us your book cover and the name of your book?
Trauma-Free Health. It's Secrets to Sustaining Long-Term Wellness.
Thank you.
It will be available in ebook and paperback hardcover on Amazon on July 30th. And then the Audible is going to be coming in about another month or so. That's
great. So thank you, Jaime. Thank you again, audience, for joining us here on another episode of Your Health is Your Greatest Wealth. And I will be providing Jaime's information in the description section. Thank you.